Welcome, brothers and sisters. I want to do a video today. It's been a while since I've done a video regarding something that I think is really important. I'd like to share with my family here. And for anyone listening that is not of my people, I just want you to understand that this channel, this video, and especially this video on my channel, is for the original branch, the children of Jacob, okay, known as the Hebrews, okay. We are the original branch. If you are a Gentile tuning in, if you are seeking truth, and you're okay with truth, you can handle the truth, hey, it's your call if you want to listen in, but I am here to be a source of information for my people, and my people alone. So I just want to be clear on that. If you are a Christian, this is not a Christian channel. It is not a religion-friendly channel, because I am here to speak the truth. I am not here to keep you in your delusion, which you prefer to be in. So if you are a Christian, a Gentile, this is not for you. So I would recommend you do not waste your time tuning in. There's plenty of Christian channels out there that, you know, can tell you what you want to hear all day long, in terms of, you know, whatever. So moving along, for all my new subscribers, welcome. So to get right down to this video, what I want to cover is something that came to my attention. I had some clown a little while ago came on my channel. Again, this was one of their minions, one of the serpent seed, that sent me made a comment regarding, I guess, the Neanderthal video I did, stating, again, some foolishness. This is the usual propaganda they're still spewing to this day. They try it. I don't waste my time, and now I refuse to even entertain. They used to entertain me. I won't even allow them to entertain me anymore, because really the whole idea of these people is just, when they come on your channel, these Gentiles, and they leave their silly comments, it's just to really distract you, from the work of reaching our people and educating our people from all the miseducation of this Greco-Roman culture and unfortunate temporary rulership that we are dealing with today, of the serpent seed on this planet, the children of the Nephilim. But at any rate, he comes, on my channel, leaves this clown leaves this comment about, I don't know, said something to the effect of, Neanderthals, this propaganda that, white folks like to use about Neanderthals having larger, he said something, we're strong, Neanderthals are stronger and had larger brains. And I mean, these are just idiots, this whole neo-Nazism idiot, machine that still to this day with their propaganda. Well, I mean, having a large brain, of course you had a large brain descending from giants, and the fact that there was nothing in it, since, the history of Neanderthal was cannibalism and barbarism. And that was just the truth of the matter, and of course, he didn't accept that too well. So, but hey, it's just truth. What are you going to do? And by the way, human beings, our people, we're not of that stock, unfortunately. Fortunately, we were not of that stock. That would be people of the Nephilim seed. So at any rate, he didn't like that too much. But that's why I wanted to do this video. Not because of that, but because of the point of, brothers and sisters, we are dealing with, there's two types of warfare our people are dealing with on this planet. We know what one of them happens to be. The other warfare is psychological. The other one is spiritual, and the other warfare, the main warfare we're also dealing with, is what I would like to call psychological warfare of the serpent seed on this planet, that to this day they're still trying, especially now more than ever, and they're never going to stop, the fact that our people, because we are, many of us have come into the truth of the lies that we have been taught throughout their Greco-Roman, empire and society, and their institutionalized racism, systematic approach in terms of trying to, in their attempt to nullify, our people and our history. We've been lied to. Okay, and in their world, okay, the Greco-Roman, this Roman Empire, and the Roman Empire, the Roman Republic, make no mistake about it, but family, brothers and sisters, it is still in full effect. The Roman Empire never fell. Let's be clear on that. Okay, this is why that's all you see on television. It's all about their culture, Greco-Roman culture, Roman movies, Roman epic films, and all this garbage. I refuse to watch all that stuff. I don't subscribe to it. I don't like to be programmed, so I will not subscribe to that. Their perverted history I could care less about. Most of it's lies anyway. But at any rate, that's why I wanted to do this particular video, to cover really the systematic approach and uncover some of the lies that they have taught, our people, miseducated us about, and especially about understanding who we are, okay, as our Father in heaven, our Creator's chosen people, the Most High. You got to understand, and their twisted, okay, culture, okay, and their institutionalized racist systematic system, their whole education process in their society, everything essentially is in reverse. It's all upside down. Okay, you have to understand that. And think about it, Satanism is exactly that. Okay, because it helps you to understand the origins. In their society, think about it, in their world, okay, and in their rulership, this temporary rulership that we're dealing with, everything is upside down, okay? They have taken everything negative about their history and reversed it, okay, and said, in terms of the systematic approach in their attempt to nullify who we are, our history, and try to blot out our history. They basically said everything negative about their history, that's not about us. Everything bad about us, it's not about us, it's about you. So everything that correlated to them, their history, they said was our history, or us. Okay? And they also even used it in the writings of our people that they got their filthy hands on and stole, and corrupted our language, or a lot of our language in the scriptures, known as the scriptures. Because you have to understand, brothers and sisters, we are dealing with, the English language is a defiled, it is an unclean language, foreign tongue, unclean tongue. Let me give you the definition of it here. It says the English language is the offspring of the Anglo-Saxon, is one of the Low German dialects which make up the German class of the Teutonic branch of the Indo-European or Aryan languages. That's where it stems from. And it is pure babble. It is a hodgepodge, a culmination of several languages, primarily Celtic, Greco-Roman, Latin, same difference, Teutonic and Slavonic, which is German, Russian. It is literally all these all these languages mixed up into one, language that they call the English language. Okay, their so-called English language is essentially exactly what we're dealing with, a very unclean tongue. So that's why, brothers and sisters, it says in the scriptures, that's why our Father in heaven, He is going to have to purify our language. Okay. On the day, He gathers us, and help to us to renew our original language, ancient language, that our writings were written in, to purify it from the corruption of these Gentiles. And, okay, so essentially, that's what we're dealing with. And like I said, everything in their history, they basically flipped the script on us and said, hey, that's your history. That's you. That's not us. And I'm going to show you the proof of that today, because we are dealing with psychological warfare. And to this day, they continue to try to spew their lies and their filth, and especially in the world of Christianity. And that's why I need, we have to really share the truth with our people. And that's what my channel is to be a source of information for, you brothers and sisters, to get the word out and help our people to understand all of this, that we have been miseducated, to undo, unlearn everything that we have been taught in their corrupt language, their corrupt society, this systematic approach in their effort to try to wipe us off the face of the earth, to genocide our people. Okay, but we need to understand this truth, because you understand, in their world, okay, everything, everything white, everything black is white, white is black, darkness is light, and night is light. You understand? Left is right. So everything's kind of backwards. It is backwards. So let me show you an example of that. So for example, they didn't want us to know who we are as the children of Jacob, the original people, the original branch, the children, of, the book, that they stole from us, that our ancestors have written. So they gave us a lot of different names, classifications over the years. Basically grouped us with the Hamites. They called the Moors in the Middle Ages, and just basically said, we started out Moors, which was grouped with the Hamites, because that's what the Hamites were. Okay, they grouped the Shemites, our people, with Moors, and just called us Negroes, Moors. First it was Moors, then Negroes, then black. And then now African American, everything to essentially keep us asleep from understanding, who we are. And one of the words I would like to cover is black, and what that word really means, because black does not mean what we have been taught. So if we look up that word, you have to understand where the word derives from. So let's look up that word black. So I'm gonna blow this up really quick here, and it says the word black means, it comes from this word B-L-A-K, describes bleak, pale. That's what the word means, okay? Without color, okay? And again, in their confusion, they put of darkest color. But how can you be pale of the darkest color, but then be pale without color? So this is just part of their confusion. And also in Anglo-Saxon, it means B-L-A-E-C, which is another word for black. Okay, it's just spelled in the Anglo-Saxon language, their language, Old English. And then, of course, they gave the connotation eventually, something that describes them as pale. They associate it with Moors or people of color, Negro. Okay, but essentially means pale. Because remember, if it's in Anglo-Saxon, it's B-L-A-E-C. That's the word bleach in reverse without the H. Remember, the word bleach is black. I mean, that's where the word derives from in Anglo-Saxon. And what does bleach mean? Bleach means to, bleak. Same word, bleak, pale. It means to whiten. When you bleach something, you're whitening it, right? You're making it paler. When you bleach your hair, right? So that's where the word black, that's what it really means. It means pale, okay, without color, to remove the color, okay? So it doesn't mean what they have taught us to believe, okay? First of all, our skin is brown. And if you look up the word brown, we're brown people, right? The word brown is associated also with red, okay, redness. And in the scriptures, it described our people as ruddy. Okay, ruddy is just another word for, it's part of brown. It makes up the color brown, okay? And that's where that term ruddiness comes from. It comes from that word red, which is, derives from the term brown, okay? Because that's what our people are. We are of a brownish, hue, reddish hue. We have also gold undertones, yellow undertones, and brown skin. But we are, brown people. Our skin's not black, it's brown, correct? So that just helps you to understand that, our skin's not black. But this is a term, and a term that was negative, that really meant pale, described them, that they took and flipped the script on us and said, that is going to describe people you people. Okay. Now let's look a little bit more into what that word means, shall we? And this is also understanding the origin of what their name actually means. So if we go and look up the word white, let's take a look here, because I think this is really, really important stuff here for you to know. Sorry, I went too far back in the book here. And I tell you, when I say this whole thing is stranger than fiction, I kid you not, it really is stranger than fiction. But again, it's just truth. Okay, so if we look up the word white, and I'm going to blow this up so you can see it here, and I'm going to read this off to you. The word white, it's spelled in a couple different ways. Now remember, they like to play around with their language, take liberties with their language, just like they took liberties with our language in our writings, the scriptures. They like to switch letters around to hide things, so you can't, figure out what the meanings are. But this is pretty clear here. So the word white, you see it spelled in two different ways. It's spelled with an E on the end, which is what we typically see it in the modern, English language, and it's also spelled without without an E. Okay. So if you look at this word, it's also spelled H-W-I-T. Okay. And the adjective, okay, it also can be an adjective. It describes, it says color of snow, pale, colorless, pure. Now in the writings of our people, the scriptures, you notice that whenever there was judgment, okay, that was issued by our Father, our Creator, the Most High, our Father in heaven, the people were cursed and their skin was turned pale, and it always described their skin being turned white as what? Snow. Okay? So they tried to hide that by using the term leprosy. Okay? Leprosy does not mean being turned white as snow. Okay? That's a skin disease. It has nothing to do with being turned white as snow. And if you doubt what I'm saying to you, read in the book of Kings what happened to Gehazi, who was Elijah's assistant. The story about the curse of Gehazi and what happened to him when he was cursed by Elijah. He was turned what? He was turned white. Okay, and what happened to Miriam? It describes her as being turned pale, white as snow. They like to use the term leprosy to hide it. But whenever there was judgment, people in the writings of our people were turned white. And it also helps you to understand it even derives the name. Where do you think the name Miriam comes from? Okay? It means white. So, anyway, really important. But these are the things they hid in the writings of our people, so we wouldn't understand all of this. That clearly, it's also a part of what that name means and helps you to understand. But again, they lied and they flipped the script on us and said, hey, this is why they like to associate Ham, and say they use Ham for the curse of Canaan, when Ham was not cursed in the writings of our people. Clearly it was Canaan, okay, his son. But they flipped the script because why? They tried to associate us with the Moors, the Hamites. And again, this is all part of their psychological warfare, okay, that they essentially, implemented, on our people throughout their system. But we're going to keep this going. So, but that word, H-W-I-T, color of snow, pale, white, pure, purified from sin, of course, is always good. White is always associated with good. But is it really? Now, clearly here, it associates with purity. But let's look a little deeper, because really to understand, you have to dig deeper, and that's why I pulled an etymology dictionary that is dated back. This particular dictionary I have, this etymology dictionary, it dates back to the 1800s. So we can gain more perspective on the truth of what that word white really means, just like the word black, what that means. We understand it means pale. So let's look deeper about what white means. So, Now, it also says here, it means, so the Anglo-Saxon is HWIT, but it also means in the Old German, now it's also described as a noun here, it means a thing, the smallest particle imaginable. Okay, a bit. Wonder what that means. And then Anglo-Saxon word also, it means, it's spelled again, they switched the letters around, W-I-H-T. Instead of W-H-I-T, it's W-I-H-T. And this in the Anglo-Saxon, Old English, it means a creature, thing. And then in Old German, it's spelled with an I-O in the front. And then it's also spelled as ought, like A-U-G-H-T. And it says here, C-W-I-G-H-T. Again, it's spelled white, as in W-I-G-H-T. Okay, white. And then ought, A-U-G-H-T. It says to see these two words. So let's look a little deeper here. Okay, let's get to find, I think this will help us get to the truth of the matter, or what it really means. So if we look up this word white, with spelled in the Old German W-I-G-H-T, look that word up, it says here, it means a person of a specified kind, especially one regarded as unfortunate. That doesn't sound like the original meaning, does it? When it was spelled W-I-T-E, W-H-I-T-E, right? It sounds a little different, the meaning here. Then it also means here a spirit, ghost, or other supernatural being. Now that's very, very disturbing. Okay, but this just supports my other previous videos. Now let's keep going to find out, dig a little bit deeper about this word. So if we go to the etymology database, now this etymology database, I can take it or leave it. The thing I don't like about databases, sometimes online databases, is because it tends to be subjective. You know, the information is based on, you know, a lot of it is really based on the person who's inputting the information, and a lot of these databases online, you know who's inputting the information, right? Gentiles. So they tend to be very subjective. So sometimes I'm a little leery of them. But this one has some good information in it, even though it tends to be a little bit objective, but or subjective rather. But there is obviously some very good information here about this word. So if we look up this word here, it says again, spelled W-I-H-T, we get a further meaning. Living being, creature, person, something, anything. Okay? It says from the Proto-Germanic source also of Old Saxon, okay, or Anglo-Saxon, W-I-H-T, same word, means thing, demon. Okay. I did a video, I don't know if I did a video on that, I think I did. Anyway, but the word Gentile also is an Aramaic term that when you look it up from the Aramaic, the Hebrew, that is, you know, our language is a Western Shemitic language, that's what the word means. It means daemon. It's spelled differently with an A in front of the E, but it's the same word, daemon. One of our sisters, she did a video, one of our Hebrew sisters did a video on Gentiles and the meaning of the word, and when she looked it up in the our ancient Western Shemitic language, also known as ancient Hebrew, the word came back with the Aramaic word daemon with an A in front, lima, dima. It's also spelled dima, okay, M-A-H on the end, lima, bahima. But the word again stems from the word demon. Okay? And I couldn't make this up if I tried. You see what the word means. It says thing, demon. Alright? I kid you not. Alright? And let's keep going. It also means in Swedish, vat, which means spirit of the earth. Didn't we just see that word here that said spirit, ghost, or supernatural being? Was telling you here that's exactly what it means as well in the database online. It means spirit of the earth, genome, okay, thing, creature, okay. The Old Slavonic, it also means vesti, a thing. It also means not, okay. It also, again, spelled W-H-I-T without the E, Again, smallest particle, no amount. Okay, it also means, okay, and again, they add things in here that are not correct because they're trying to hide things. Okay, you can't be a spirit and at the same time be a human being. All right, so if we keep going, it tells you exactly what it means. So it means ought, something. Okay. Okay. And remember, it says here, ought, something, Old English, anything. It means vital, and it says force, but it says, now here it says long life, eternity. Now you got to wonder what that means. If you dig deeper, okay, because remember what a spirit does. Spirit is an entity, okay, that lives on, right? So, and this is why in Christianity, that word, they use that word spirit a lot, spiritual this, spiritual that, because you gotta understand where it all stems from. This is where it comes from, okay, brothers and sisters? This is all part of their history, okay? And then it also means ought, like I said, and that word ought means naught. It's the same word with an N. It means evil, an evil act, trifle. A trifle, nothingness. The number 0, it also means 0. It means nothing. Okay? When in our writings in the scriptures, in the original testament, they call the Old Testament, our people, when they described the nations, they said they are as nothing. In their translation, that's what it means. Our people have always known who our enemies were. We knew our enemies were the pale invaders. Okay, it described these people that they had hidden, but they hid that in the writings with that term nothing. Okay, but if you read our writings and it describes the Gentiles, that term will come up, nothing. But that's where you have to understand where that word derives from. Okay, because it's describing a people. Okay, it's not describing a thing as in terms of an adjective. It's describing a people. Okay, and these are the people. All right, creature, being. Okay, now it also comes from the Old Saxon neo-wit, which means nothing. Notice it's spelled neo and then W-I-H-T. All right, and it means morally bad. Okay, wicked. Also means morally bad, wicked. The figure 0. Okay, nothing, 0. Okay, also means 8. Okay, because they are the 8th kingdom. All right. So all of these things derive from this word white. Now, it also means, because it means ought and not in Old English. So, naught is also another word. It means night. It's the same word. All of this correlates to the same word, okay? So let's look that up. The word night. Go here. Let's look up that word real quick. So the word means night, okay, and this is the same word. All right. So if we look up that word night, I'm just going to blow it up here a little bit, make it larger. The word night. It means, the reason why I want to show you this, because I think it's really important. Okay, night means, okay, the time from sunset to sunrise, darkness. Okay, night means darkness. Now, if you don't believe me and think that this word is not the same word, okay, it says Anglo-Saxon night, N-I-H-T, okay. Now, same word, right? Now, if you don't believe that, I'm going to show you. It also means N-I-H-T. It's the same word. Now, how do you know this? It means not. It means not, night. It's the same word. Okay, darkness. Now, I want to show you something here. because from the Gothic word it means naught. N-A, and remember they spell it a little differently. N-A-H-T-S, naughts. Okay, but it's spelled night. N-I-H-T is the same word. It also means north, and I'm going to show you that too. So let me show you here. If you look up the word north, okay, so let's make this a little bit larger. So the word north, okay, comes from the word nor, N-O-R. It means a particle marking the second subsequent part of a negative proposition. Okay, it's correlative to, so it correlates to the word neither. Neither as in nether, netherworld. It's the same word as netherworld, you know. So correlative to neither or netherworld, okay, or not. Okay, so it's the same word, not. In Anglo-Saxon, AS is abbreviated for Anglo-Saxon, also means N-E, nay, or not. Okay, and this word, what comes from this word? What is the root? This is the root word, right? So what is also the root of this word? It also comes from the word Norse, as in Norseman, you know, language of ancient Scandinavia. Norseman, you know that term, Norseman. Okay, they tend to use that a lot, right, in their history. It also means, from that word derives the word north. Okay, the point opposite the sun at noon. Okay, same word. It comes from that word nor, N-O-R. Okay, same word, and it means not, N-E, nay. So how do you know? Let's take a look. If we go down here to the word not, remember I told you that that word night is the same word. It means N-E, from pi root, nay, N-E, no, okay? And that's why that word UN for United Nations, one of our people, she had mentioned the word united. UN, United Nations, means no nations. And I never understood what she was referring to, and now I understand, because she understands the root of that word united, okay, as in united, or un. See, it also means un. As in UN, it means no nations. Knighted means white, okay, or not. So that means no nations. Okay, and that's where the word derives from. So UN means no nations. Okay, it's not unified about anything. But anyway, you see the word, it says from naught derives no and not, which means nothing. Again, thing, creature, being. C, white, W-I-G-H-T. This is where all of it is all relative. It all derives from the same word, okay? Which is not good, brothers and sisters. Now you understand where that word white comes from. See, these are the lies we have been told, just like now you understand where the word black comes from. It really means pale, okay? Same word. Okay, these are words that are associated with them, but they hid all of this so we would not understand their true origins. And that's just the truth. So I want to cover something else here that I think you'll find very interesting. There has been a decline of the white population in America. The aging population is declining. It's actually their population is aging and they're dying. Their population dying, and they've known this for decades. Okay, they've known this, and I have this article here that was done actually last month. Give me a second here. So I'm going to read it off to you. So I'm going to read this off to you really quick about this. I'm going to read this article to you. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I think you'll find it really, really interesting. So it says a rapidly aging white population and fast-growing younger minority groups are speeding demographic changes across the nation, hastening a political divide likely to have long-term ramifications. It says the percentage of the U.S. population that is white has decreased from 79.6% in 1990 to 61.9% in 2014. The percentage of the Latino Americans has increased from 6.4% to 17.3% over the same time period, while both the African American and Asian American populations have grown too. So that's great. You know, our people are increasing. So then it says there are growing signs that the rate of change is increasing. Alright. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but it says the number of non-Hispanic whites, that's white folks who died in 2014, outpaced the number of white births in 17 states, according to a new analysis from the University of New Hampshire. Now, what that basically means is the rate of their aging population has increased, and their birth rate has actually decreased. So they have more people dying, more white folks dying than white folks being born. And of course, white folks would read this article, and they live in denial. I mean, what never ceases to amaze me about white folks is their tremendous capacity for self-denial and delusion. Okay, that anything that's truth about them, that exposes the truth about things that they have tried to suppress and have hidden throughout their history, they just tend to ignore and deny. So I always say it's a waste of time to argue with them. It's just a waste, because they'll never accept any of the reality of what's happening around them, because they live in denial. Okay, so of course, and that's just the reality of that. So this is very interesting here. It says naturally the number of whites born in 2014 is only slightly higher, 2.15 million, than the number of whites who died, 2.6 million a decade ago. White births outpaced deaths by nearly 400,000 each year. The ratio of white births to death fell 79% between 1999 and 2014. That is significant. That is a huge number. And typically, this type of decline, a population cannot, it doesn't reverse itself when you have a declining population. This is, it's funny because they're really big on the whole Darwinism, natural selection theory. But I wonder how they feel about natural selection now. But again, this is, that's their propaganda. I personally don't believe in natural selection. I believe that this is, our Father in Heaven, the Most High's design. This is how He weeds out the weeds from the wheat. The parable of the terrorist and the wheat in the book of Matthew, that I did a video on some time ago. But again, this is just our Father in Heaven, how He deals with genetic corruption on this planet and how He's dealing with it. And essentially what it says here, which I think is very interesting, is it says nationally the number of white Americans is expected to begin declining in absolute numbers between 2030 and 2040. According to projections from the U.S. Census Bureau, by 2050, whites are expected to make up less than half the U.S. population. Now, what's really interesting about this is that there is, they said by 2050, this is their estimate, of course. So they've known about the fact that they are dying. Their population has been dying for a long time. They've known for decades about all of this. Make no mistake about this, brothers and sisters. Now, why it all comes out now is because it's all I think it's also part of their own agenda. As they are dying off, they're trying to find, they have, through their mad science, extended, they've found their way of buying more time, because that's why you have an older population that's living longer, but they can't seem to grow the population. and really by themselves extend their mortality rate, even though they're going to try everything they can to preserve themselves. And the only way they can preserve themselves on this planet is by the mixing agenda. So even though their population is dying, here's the problem. What's on the rise, brothers and sisters? As much as I want to do backflips on all this and say, hey, is this a bad thing? I do have concerns about it, because they also have a race mixing agenda, and there is a growing population of growing biracial population. So my also concern is around that timeline. There also is going to be a very large biracial population, which really does jeopardize potentially humanity on this planet, because they're also part of their plan is really to mix the human race out of existence. I mean, to corrupt the seed of Jacob, the remnant seed of Jacob, and the children of Adam, humans, okay, people of color, melanated people. So this is why I urge my brothers and sisters, please do not intermarry these people and only marry our own people, because they are trying to, this is part of their agenda, okay? They know the only way they can continue is to breed with humans, to mix with humans, okay, which is also going to breed out the human existence of the human race on this planet, human beings, humankind. So that is also a concern of mine. Now, how do you know all this? You got to ask yourself. They have a movie coming out sometime this year called, I don't know if you ever saw the movie in the 80s. It was Blade Runner. It was about androids, by the way. Essentially half human, half machines. And that was done in the 80s. Really excellent film. If you haven't seen it, I encourage you to watch that. But it was about the same thing. In that film, the premise of that movie was androids trying to buy themselves more time. They were trying to extend their, mortality rate. But their inventor gave them a timeline, because they were dangerous. So, like whatever, he would give them a timeline of a certain amount of years that, and after that, they would, they would cease to continue, and their systems would shut down, these androids. So they have this film coming out. It's called Blade Runner. Now, why did they call it Blade Runner? This is a sequel to that movie that was done over 30 years ago. Why is it saying Blade Runner 2049? Okay. Why 2049? What I find very interesting is it's so close to this date here by 2050 of their, essentially pretty much their practically extinction rate. The year of what they project is potentially their extinction. Even though they say make up less than half the population could be, 5 or 10% or less than that. So it's very close to that date. So I don't think there's a coincidence, and you got to ask yourself, what do you think they're planning by 2049, okay, or 2050? I don't think it's they know that they're on the verge of extinction. So I think this is all part of their transhumanism agenda. They're trying to find a way to transfer their consciousness, either through, again, the continuing of, this whole, interbreeding with humans, melanated people on this planet that are pure humans, okay, or transferring their consciousness into machines or clones. This is part of that whole, that whole transhumanism agenda. But something is going on, and because that's less than 30 light years away. So as much as you want to get excited about that, this whole article, I'm leery of it, because I think, again, this is all also part of their agenda and how they're planning to find a way to continue on this planet, or extend their mortality. Again, self-preservation, which really does tie into the Georgia guidelines, because when you look at if there is a growing diverse population in terms of diversity, more biracial population that's growing around the world. This is really does play in line with the Georgia Guidestones that they put up over 30 years ago, which says maintain humanity under 500,000. Remember, their population's on decline, but this 500,000 agenda is for the entire planet. It's not just them that they're up to in terms of some other things that they're implementing. And then in perpetual balance with nature, okay, so they want to reduce the population to under 500,000, but that's in line with that agenda. And then also it says guide reproduction wisely, improving fitness and diversity. Guide reproduction, okay, that low birth rate, okay, and also improving fitness and diversity, improving diversity. So this is all tying in to their agenda, okay, and that's what those guidestones are all about. Of the New World, I call it the NWD, not the NWO, New World Disorder. Alrighty, the wicked. And just so you understand, brothers and sisters, do I think all white folks are wicked? No, I don't think all white folks are wicked. But I do think the NWD, the people who are oppressing our people, do I think they're wicked? Absolutely. That are trying to, again, oppressing our people in terms of their temporary rulership and oppressive rulership and reign of this planet, known as the NWD. So at any rate, that's it for now. I wanted to share it with you. Please pass it on. And thanks for tuning in. Until next time, and may the Most High continue to grant you much prosperity and increase. Shalom.